This arrived in the mail today, and I was really excited to try out the new fragrance line from Dries Van Noten. So I thought I'd do a very quick, brief first impression of the fragrances. They were sold out of the full sample set, which is a better deal, I think $60 for all 10. But with the 5, you get to choose 2 free samples with anything you order, so you end up with 7 out of 10. And I ordered the set that I was most interested in, which I think they called the lighter or fresher set. As you expect with Dries, the packaging is fantastic. They give you here a little card with the main notes of the 5 from the set, and then the free ones in their card. And it came in this nice bigger box, which contained this smaller box, and even cute little postcard with the receipt and return shipping label. Really nice packaging. Wouldn't expect anything less from Dries, who's really known for really refined, elevated sense of taste, but also very playful fashion. Mixes a lot of colors and patterns. I was more of a fashion fan than a fragrance fan to begin with, so I've been well aware of Dries's work in the fashion world, and it's quite surprising he's never had really a large fragrance or other type of diffusion line. He's really made his business on clothes, which is super rare in the fashion world. He also proudly stayed independent for years and years and years until he sold to Puig, I believe, in 2018. And guess what? Now we get a fragrance line. Makes you a little cynical that the fragrances follow his selling out to a larger conglomerate, because they probably want to squeeze some more money out of the brand. But he was part of the influential Antwerp 6 fashion designers that came up really in the 90s, and amazingly are all still very influential designers, I would say, to this day. People like Anne Dillemister, Walter van Beerdendonck, of course there's Martin Margiela, all still in the business more or less, making a creative impact. Raf Simons, of course, too. Dries fashion is never really my style. It's a lot of color and pattern and print, but I really respect his taste and also him as a person. If you've ever listened to interviews with him, he's very down to earth and thoughtful, into art, into his garden. So I was really excited and trying not to be too cynical about another designer exclusive launch, especially one that's this expensive. So I've worn 3 of these already. I couldn't help myself, and the first 3 I was most interested in were Neon Garden, and then I tried Santal Greenery, Fig and Santal, and then I tried Rock the Myrrh. Again, playful. Dries, if you look at Dries fashion, it's not the most serious. Lots of color, explosive patterns and silhouettes and clashes. So I think the bottles do a fantastic job, because I think it's the signature Dries thing to kind of clash colors and pattern, yet in a way that is still harmonious. I don't think any of these clash in a bad way. They contrast in a really good way. And that seems like that's also kind of the inspiration behind the fragrances. They have pairings that kind of pique your interest: mint and iris, rose and vetiver, things I don't always think of as going together. Fig and Santal, and that's been done before. Funny enough, earlier today I was wearing Santal Masoya from Hermes, which smells like fig and sandalwood, but we'll get more to that in a second. So the bad news is the 3 I tried already really smell like modern designer exclusive fragrance. I feel like this is becoming a genre unto its own. I'm thinking brands like Louis Vuitton, not so much Dior. I feel like Dior is bland, but has been around a little older. But I feel like the ones that just launched, like Givenchy, they all have something to them that I would say, unfortunately, is sort of mainstream aroma chemical sauce in the base. I was hugely disappointed with the Mint and Iris Neon Garden. The opening was really good, exactly what it says, Mint and Iris, nice combination. I think it must be, I'm not a perfumer, I don't want to use technical terms too much, but iris iodine thing that you get also in Dior Homme that gives you a blast of iris as a top note that quickly disappears, because real iris butter supposedly is supposed to warm up and grow bigger as you wear it, but the iris didn't stick around for too long. But what did stick around for too long was the ambroxan. I thought my nose was tricking me, because anything I tend to hate or find kind of like Sephora smell, I tend to blame on ambroxan, which probably isn't always accurate. But a quick search of the notes and ambroxan is listed among the notes, so they're not being shy about it. The others went the same way. I don't know why, but Nichane came to mind because they're actually quite powerful. I'm sure there are some nice, expensive naturals. I think they're well done. Nothing is gross, but they just have that powerful designery base that kind of plagues Francis Kurkdjian, Nichane, Parfum de Marly. These are brands I really don't respect, and it's kind of sad that Dries goes in that direction. To me, the only really niche perfumes that avoid this are Frederic Malle, of course, and Chanel and Hermes. Those are the only three, it seems. Everyone else is going in this direction, and I love modern perfumery. I actually don't like vintage at all. I mean, the old classics smell old to me. I'm sorry, and I have no interest in hunting down musty old bottles of perfume either. So I'm totally down with modernity. As a musician, I'm interested in modern composition. I'm not stuck in the past classics. So I think what bothers me when I say it's modern perfume is how generic the base smells. They all kind of smelled so far like things I've smelled before for much cheaper, things you kind of smell everywhere. And surely the compositions themselves are not the same kinds of things you find in cheap fragrances at Sephora. But unfortunately for me, at least, the aroma chemicals that are used in the base are so distracting. After a couple hours, that's all I smell. And at that point, it just reminds me of a million other things. Like I said, that's only 3 of the 7. So maybe I'll really stink myself up here and try the others. So Santal Greenery I wore before. I'll do a dab just to remind myself. Yeah, this one, if I was to liken to like what designer kind of smell, it goes blue. It definitely has a blue oceanic tinge to it. I don't get green. I don't get sandalwood. Probably it uses that sandalwood aroma chemical in the base because I remember this being quite persistent, but it's a shower gel perfume if you ask me. So far, like I said, this is this I wore all day earlier on my skin. So I did experience its full dry down. The opening's kind of fresh. It also reminds me a little bit of the one Nichane I do like, Egg. I'm not sure how to say it, EGE. I don't know the root language, but it's kind of a powerful blue, but that one is almost so over the top blue and fresh and packed with spices. I find something interesting about it. This goes a little in that direction. I get almost a mintiness actually, and so this is Santal Greenery. The notes, I'll look that up here. Bergamot, grapefruit, violet. I don't get violet. A little creamy fig, but not fig as I recognize it. There's not a lot of creaminess. It's overpowered to me by the white musk. It smells very, very clean. I can detect the grapefruit. That's one I wore already today. So the next one, Raving Rose, pepper and rose. I have been interested to try this. Interestingly, I read one comment, somebody saying they found these weak, but man, I dabbed just about that much on each arm earlier today, and it was projecting and projecting and projecting. It's Radical Rose. So far that's nice. Again, the rose goes in the fresh direction, kind of little shampoo-y shower gel rose bath product. But the pepper is nice and tingly. Again, it has that dry, to me this if we have the culprit kind of mass market aroma chemical, it's ISO-E, because it has a dry, wet woodiness. So far I'm liking this one better than the 3 I tried earlier, Radical Rose, but I'll come back to that. Neon Garden I actually don't want to wear again because the ambroxan smell. At this point, I don't know, I'm just so sick of it, and it maybe my nose is overly sensitive to it because anything that contains too much ambroxan, that's just all I smell, and it just blasts and blasts for hours and hours. So I'm not going to put that one on again. But this is Rose Carnivora, so rose and vetiver. Yeah, all of these weirdly remind me of something else. And I can't put my finger on it. Something fresh that I tried. I get, not peppery. Again, it's more of a clean, fresh rose. It's not a voluptuous rose. I don't get a particularly earthy vetiver. Yeah, again, a very clean. So far, these three, really have that clean, fresh kind of shower gel vibe a little bit. But I'm liking the roses because I'm kind of a sucker for a fresh, dewy rose. So here we go. Orange Blossom. I was on a real Orange Blossom kick last year. Some of my favorites. One MFK I do own is Petit Matin. I like the way that does Orange Blossom. I like the Le Labo Neroli, which smells nothing like Neroli, but it smells like the beach. Yeah, Orange Blossom, a little vanilla. This one's a little bit sweet. It's reminding me, I got a free sample of a fragrance I think called Diva. That was a very sweet, marshmallowy orange blossom that I didn't like. This smells, I don't know, like a teenage French girl. And I think that's the thing. All of these smell very young. And not young as in fun and youthful, but just young as in immature. Yeah, that has a real sweetness when Orange Blossom goes towards the kind of sweet marshmallowy direction. We'll see what the official Neroli Buds Jasmine. Yeah, I think the jasmine lends to the marshmallow. Milk, there we go. So milk is giving me that impression. Again, sandalwood. I'm guessing all the sandalwood in here is the sandalwood aroma chemical. This one would be too sweet for me. Rock the Myrrh I also tried earlier and don't want to spray again. This was a leathery. Again, it just smells like things I've smelled before in high-end kind of money-grabbing, trend, hype-hopping perfume brands. Like again, Nishane keeps coming to mind. I think because Nishane is quite powerful. And people who know more than me have said Nishane smells like they use expensive ingredients, but then again, they just soup it up with these aroma chemicals to give crazy performance. So I feel like people who are really interested in big performance might like these, but for me, that's kind of the deal breaker. So last Fleur de Mal. This is more interesting off the bat. Oh, Peach Juice, Osmanthus. Yeah, I get the suede. Yeah, they remind me either sometimes of something Hermes or, again, something kind of more crass like Nishane or Parfum de Marly. This is leaning towards the Hermes. And when I say Hermes, not quite Hermescence, but like the Jardin series. I think that's what the Vetiver Rose might remind me of. But this, it has a little bit of that soft suede note of Cuir d'Ange. But again, a little bit cleaner. Definitely get Osmanthus. Also reminding me of Osmanth Yunnan from Hermes. This might be my favorite so far, but likely redundant with Osmanth Yunnan, which I own. But none of the kind of offensive aroma chemical from the others is smacking me in the face yet. And it just says suede amber, so the amber is probably the unnamed base that's going to come out later. But yeah, nice. It kind of is in the in-between land between fresh and floral, but then also leathery. And that's a genre that I really enjoy. So we'll go back through. So that was Fleur de Mal, Peach Juice, Osmanthus. So far my favorite. Yeah, they remind me a lot of Vuitton as well. Vuittons, they have nice bright openings. They feel fun and playful, but they just feel a little thin and empty. Like there's no there. There's no soul or depth to the perfume. Yeah, I don't like the orange blossom. Again, too sweet. It smells like I've smelled a lot of fragrances that smell like this for a lot cheaper. Over here we've got going the Santal Greenery. Yeah, fresh shower jelly to me. The rose and pepper one is barely detectable, so I'll try a little more of that because I thought it was kind of interesting. Again, I know first impressions, they don't tell you too much. I usually like to really wear something. I like to own something because I feel like after you own it, have a full bottle, wear it for a full day over and over, you can really give a good review. So again, these first impressions, my mind might change, but my overall goal is just to give you an idea of the kind of style that's happening here. What is the house style, if there is one so far? Interestingly, because each of these has a different perfumer, they all smell very stylistically coherent, which I wonder if that comes from the production facility, if just the producer of these fragrances, everything kind of ends up coming out the same. I find that with Frederic Malle in a good way, in a really good way, that despite having really different perfumes and really different perfumers working for Frederic Malle to make fragrances, they all have like a level of quality and refinement that runs throughout. I feel like some of this does have to do with like one facility sourcing and producing the same ones. Yeah, the rose is coming out to be pretty interesting. It's smelling more green right now. I'm getting kind of like crushed bitter leaves. Another designer house I would rate above this are the Gucci's. So Gucci's maybe don't reach Chanel or Frederic Malle tier in my mind, although they're more expensive. But they're better than I think every other recent designer exclusive brand I can think of. And I would pick the Gucci. I have the Gucci rose. I would probably pick the Gucci over this. But the rose is nice. So quick review, the two I'm liking. Fleur de Mal, actually really nice osmanthus. But again, with the peach juice, the osmanthus, it's like a fine line of kind of Bath and Body Works, you know, something that could be $10 a bottle, not $300. But it's nice. And the Raving Rose is a nice peppery rose with a good bite of kind of green leaves and twigs. The one I was most excited about, because I like iris, I like the idea of iris and mint, and the opening was really nice. The Ambroxan makes it unwearable for me. It makes it a scrubber for me. It smells like I could be wearing Sauvage, I don't know. By the time it dries down, it smells like it could be any of 1,000 different things that you smell everywhere you go. And kind of same thing for the Rock the Myrrh, except it smells like kind of a lot of sweet, leathery ambers. So if you like that kind of thing, a little bit sweet, a little bit smoky, a little bit leathery. I feel like Vuitton does this in a few of their fragrances. And I'm not a fan, and so I won't be wearing that again. But I'll keep trying these if I decide upon a favorite. I thought I would love one enough to use the $40 to buy a bottle, but now I'm not so sure. From today's quick sniff, it would probably be the Raving Rose if I was to get one of them. So I haven't tried Soie Malaquais, which is the term for a type of silk, which is interesting. The cocoa concerns me, and the base note might be too sweet. I haven't tried Voodoo Child. Not the biggest patchouli fan, so that one I wasn't in a hurry. Same thing with Cannabis Patchouli. So those are the three I've not got here. I thought Neon Garden would be the takeaway hit, but maybe in terms of mass appeal it would be, but I think at $300 in the limited distribution, it's the masses are not aware of this, and they're not going to be. So not sure why they wouldn't try to go a bit more quirky, a bit more niche, a bit more challenging, unless they plan some wider rollout, which is very likely. I'm wondering if some boutiques in New York will get it eventually. Saks carries Dries clothes and has a huge fragrance department, the original Saks Fifth Avenue. So I wouldn't be surprised if eventually they get these. Anyway, that's my short first impressions. Take it with a grain of salt. I'm smelling these for the first time today, and this is just my opinion. I think if you like Vuitton, if you like modern designer exclusives, if you like paying $300 for that, you might find something of interest here. If you like more classic French perfumery, I hesitate to say that because I don't like classic perfumery myself. But if you like more artistic fragrances, if you like fragrances that intentionally kind of make sure not to use the typical suspects, I think that's what Frederic Malle can be, very modern, very contemporary, but I can't think of any of his fragrances that rely heavily on the usual suspects. I'm talking Ambroxan, ISO-E. I'm sure there's fragrances that might contain those things. Some people complain about Amber Max being used a lot by Frederic Malle, but none of them just smack of that right off the bat the way that some of these do. So there you go. Hope you learned something from this and hope you try them out, and let me know what you think if you agree or disagree. Bye.